Hey guys, it's your boy M.K.S here, back in another video. Hope everyone's well. I didn't quite get around to do as much as I planned to do yesterday, and I was thinking of doing a video like this, like talking about things I want to cover yesterday, but I didn't quite get around to it. But anyway, it is what it is. So we're here now, I suppose. Anyway, hope you're having a great time wherever you are. And here in the UK, the weather's quite nice where I am anyway. So anywho, I thought I'd talk about some of my plans for the rest of the day. It's nearly 4:30 here in the UK, obviously in the afternoon, so it's not really that early, but um, I hope to talk about the rest of my plans for today. And as I've talked about before, like I normally have these patterns, like on certain days, I like to do, or certain dates as well. Excuse me, I like to do or cover certain things. So on Monday it's like miscellaneous Monday, so I like to be a bit more random, miscellaneous random Mondays. But anyway, I do have some sort of goals that I want to work towards. So hopefully I'll be able to talk about some of my goals that I want to talk about. Want to cover, like especially supporting Indigenous people from the Americas, as I talked about before, especially for till the end of September. But anyway, here goes. Number one, I was thinking about, as I often have these patterns where like numbers sort of mean certain things to me or remind me of certain things. So number one, I normally think of like getting things started. And I was thinking of how in the past, when obviously when I was younger, I used to have so many ideas and dreams and goals and think, like when I heard about famous dyslexics, that motivated me to believe I could do a lot of things. But I used to like have a lot of ideas, but I didn't really take much. I didn't really know the steps to put them into practice or know about. I just thought if I have these ideas and share them with people, somehow they'll come together. And I've heard a lot in these motivational videos I watch about how important it is to take action on your ideas and not just have ideas, apparently. So a lot of people say it's about not just having ideas. In fact, I've heard people say ideas are a dime a dozen, or even that ideas are worthless. I've heard one or two people say like ideas are also important, but I think it's probably a bit of an ingredient. Like if you have an idea, but you also, I think that it sort of has an importance, but it's not as important as, like, unfortunately for me, because I'm good at coming up with ideas, but I'm not very good at taking action on those ideas. So I started to do that. Like that's why when I had these dreams about setting up a YouTube channel, I sort of in the end had to go for it. And I think one of the things is not making things perfect, but just getting on with your ideas. But one of the things I wanted to ask, actually, while I remember it, is please share any quotes you can think of or you can find about taking action, the importance of taking action, and also like getting things started as well. So please share those comments or any quotes or anything like, for instance, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step, or any sort of distance starts with a single step, or whatnot. And like, so the importance of getting things started and not getting things perfect, but first time, but getting things to be started, and then you can always improve as you go along. And on that note, like I'm talking about supporting Indigenous people from the Americas, I think one, I'd love to unite them together. So that's another thing that like work together as one. So that's another thing that number one can remind me of. But also, I'm a great believer that like if young people from the reservation, from the Native American reservations or across the Americas, young Indigenous First Nation people, which is another thing that the number one could remind me of, is if they could start their own business from a young age. And like I'd love, like say if my YouTube video grows big enough somehow and I made enough money, I'd like give them seed capital for starting their own business. So from a young age, so the first business could be like a trial run, from like even learning how to run their own lemonade stall or sell water or even fruit or veg or healthy stuff as well, and like learning about what sort of things they want to sell, what sort of things can sell, how they can make money, profit from their passions, and make them into businesses. So like in the future, hopefully they'll really learn how to profit from those passions and that sort of thing. Hope that made sense. But yeah, to start their own business. But yeah, please share any quotes you can to like talk about the importance of getting started and taking action and being prepared to make mistakes or fail, as I call it, fail your way to success. So you're sort of doing it's like a scientific experiment. You're going to find out ways not to do things before you find out the way to do stuff. So I hope to encourage Indigenous people, as I say, from the Americas, to start their own projects, especially young people and the youth. Number two, on the note of empowering Indigenous people from the Americas, I hope to comment in this group I made on Facebook about the one-stop place for which is called the one-stop place for empowering Indigenous people in the Americas. I hope to talk about like how they could be empowered and motivated, like what I talked before about, like the M.K.S. Indigenous people of the Americas empowerment group, or a new deal for the Indigenous people of the Americas. Excuse me, sorry. And how that can, what are the best ways to empower them, and like things like teach for Indigenous people from the Americas or train up for Indigenous people from the Americas. So apologies if I've said these ideas before. I hope I come up with some new ideas, as I say, and hopefully this is covering some new stuff. Number 3, I was talking about what freedom means to me, and also hear from Indigenous people about what freedom means to them, and what Indigenous people think about libertarianism or politics generally, or things like that, and what freedoms Indigenous people from the Americas think people should and shouldn't have, and also their views about nature and environment, and the environment, and looking after other living things, animals and things like that, how to respect nature and things like that. So as ever, I'd love to hear from Indigenous people about those sorts of things. Number 4, I talk about like pacifism, conscience objection, not joining the military, like a group I wanted to make a while back. I called it the M.K.S. United Group after my own initials. And it's a bit of a controversial group that I thought of, because like I was saying, people with things in common with me, like what I call olive skin or light brown. I class people from the Eurasian nations, transcontinental countries generally, the Mideast and the Mediterranean, and like Anglo-Indians as like mostly as olive skin and all that sort of thing. So like people with a tanned complexion. So it's a bit controversial, I suppose. And like what I used to call part olive skin, or still call part olive skin. I know I don't normally talk about it because I talk about like supporting these other groups nowadays, but and part olive skin people would be like half Italian and half English or something like that. People who are part like Mediterranean and part something else. But they'd be classed as more olive skin than not, and then mixed race and learning disabled people. And I would love to get us out of crime, or like to help us to obey the law as much as possible and things like that. And also, but I also don't believe we should join I don't believe we should join gangs or militarism either, or terrorism also, which would be a crime. But yeah, so hope that made some sense. Number 5, again, I'd love to hear from your quotes and hear from Indigenous people about their goals, aims, and objectives and things like that, and hear about Indigenous projects such as I watch sometimes on YouTube, like Indigenous or Native American memes and things like that. So I'd love to support those sorts of channels that already exist, and help more Indigenous people in the Americas in the future create their own projects, such as their own YouTube channel and TikTok accounts. And even though I don't know much about TikTok myself, but also like encourage more people from, as I say, like if I could, I'd fundraise to buy recording equipment for Indigenous people, including from like Brazil and Argentina and all of the Americas, to create their own YouTube and TikTok accounts and things like that, and to do their own memes and that sort of thing, as well as supporting, as I say, existing memes. So please check out Indigenous people's memes yourself as well, or Native American people's memes and things like that. And also, if you are Indigenous, an Indigenous person of the Americas, or including Native American, of course, please share, if you can, any links that you want about your culture, or about your projects, or projects that work in your community, and like supporting your businesses and things like that. Number 6, as ever, I also want to talk about Italian football and that sort of thing. Number 7, again, hope to support Indigenous businesses from the Americas as well. Number 8, I'd love to support, encourage Indigenous people in the Americas to learn about, to watch inspirational, motivational YouTube videos, or things like that, such as 8 to be Great and things like that, which talk about the importance of having a passion and working on your passions, and that can help, how that can help you to work towards your goals and things like that. Number 9, as ever, I'd love to do like at least an hour of writing each day if I can, and also encourage Indigenous people of the Americas to do their own art and writing and things like that, and encourage their projects, as I say. And also, like, I'd love to see like people who actually have run successful businesses. I'd love to encourage them to do some charitable work, and like as part of that, like as well as like teach for Indigenous people from the Americas, they could also like help them to create their own business plans as part of that. So not just learn the academic stuff, but learn stuff like as well as STEM and things like that. They could also learn how to create their own business plans and that sort of thing. And number 10, I especially hope to empower Indigenous people, Indigenous youth of the Americas, sorry. So the Indigenous people of the America, the young people, so that they can be empowered in the future. Again, like things like starting up their own businesses from a young age and then learning from their mistakes. And I'd love to fundraise to sort of give them, as I say, seed capital to take those risks and to learn from their mistakes. So in the future, hopefully, they can build businesses on the reservation. So I hope you enjoyed this. Please let me know what you think. And as ever, and again, please share any quotes you can about, as I say, getting started, taking action, taking risks, experimentation, why failure isn't so bad, like how you can learn from your failures and things like that. Anyway, I'm out. Peace out.